The alien assassin woman stood motionless in the shadow of the bedroom door. Her violet eyes glowed faintly in the darkness as she watched the sleeping human Kate Newman slept peacefully unaware of the deadly threat. Mere steps away, Zylara was the best hunter in the Draxian Empire. Her name struck fear across 3 star systems. She never failed a mission until tonight. Something about this human fascinated her. Kate was ordinary by Earth standards, a librarian who lived alone in a small apartment, with too many books and a cat named Muffin. Nothing special except for one thing: Kate had accidentally intercepted a transmission meant for Draxian spies on Earth. The Empire wanted her eliminated. Immediately, Zylara gripped her phase blade tighter. The weapon hummed softly. Her orders were clear, yet she hesitated. Kate stirred in her sleep, murmuring something. Zylara enhanced her hearing. "Mom, I told you I don't need more soup." Kate mumbled and rolled over. Zylara felt an unexpected sensation in her chest. Something like amusement. This human dreamed of refusing food from her maternal caregiver. How strange, how innocent. The assassin had studied humans for weeks before this mission. She knew their weaknesses, their predictable behaviors, but Kate defied expectations. She helped strangers without reward. She cared for sick animals. She cried at both happy and sad stories. Zylara found herself following Kate far longer than necessary, learning her routines, memorizing her smile. The mission parameters never accounted for this. The Empire assumed humans were simple creatures driven by greed and fear. They never considered humans might possess qualities worth preserving. Kate sat up suddenly, her eyes adjusting to the darkness. She gasped when she spotted the tall, slender figure by her door. "Who are you?" she asked. Voice surprisingly steady, Zylara could have killed her instantly. Instead, she stepped forward, allowing the moonlight to reveal her features. Her skin shimmered with a subtle blue undertone, her face too angular to be human, her body too graceful in its movements. "I am Zylara 3rd Battalion, hunter class of the Draxian Empire. She said I was sent to kill you." Kate stared at her pulse quickening, but she didn't scream, didn't try to run. "Are you an alien?" Zylara nodded. "Why do you want to kill me?" "You intercepted information not meant for humans. The signal you received 3 weeks ago while testing your radio equipment. It contained classified Draxian intelligence." Kate looked confused. "That weird static, I thought it was just interference. It was coded instructions for our agents. Your primitive equipment accidentally descrambled part of it. So you're here too." "What silenced me?" Kate pulled her blanket tighter. "If you're going to kill me, can you at least tell me more about your world first? I mean, how often does someone get to talk to an actual alien before dying?" Zylara tilted her head, studying Kate with new interest. "Most targets begged for their lives. This human wanted knowledge even, facing death." "Your species continues to surprise me," Zylara said, lowering her weapon. "The Empire believes humans are dangerous, unpredictable. But I have observed differently. You specifically." "Me?" Kate looked genuinely confused. "I am nobody special. You give portions of your income to strangers. You spend hours helping children select books. You sing to plants. You cry when others achieve happiness. These behaviors are unknown among my kind." Kate smiled. "That's just being human." No, Zylara stepped closer. "It is exceptional. You have a word: empathy. We lack this quality. It was bred out of us generations ago to create better warriors." Kate slowly got out of bed, approaching Zylara with caution but also curiosity. "So you've been watching me? For 32 days. I needed to understand your routines, your vulnerabilities, and instead you found strength." Zylara finished, "A different kind than we value, but strength nonetheless." Kate reached out hesitantly, touching Zylax's arm. The alien tensed, but allowed it. "You're warm," Kate said, surprised. "I always imagined aliens would be cold. We share more similarities than differences," Zylara replied. "Which is why I cannot complete my mission." Kate looked up, meeting those strange violet eyes. "What happens if you don't kill? May I become a target myself?" "Failure is not permitted." Kate considered this. Then we need to figure something out because I really don't want to die and I don't want you to die. Either Xylera felt that strange sensation again. Something unfamiliar, but not unpleasant. Why would you care about my survival? I am a threat to you. Threat who chose not to kill me. That means something. Xylera had studied thousands of species across the galaxy. None had ever shown concern for an enemy. None except this. Human. There is a possibility, Xylera said slowly. If I report that you understood nothing of the transmission, and that the information was corrupted beyond recovery, they may consider the threat neutralized. Would they believe that? With evidence? Yes, Kate nodded eagerly. We could corrupt any files I have. Maybe record me saying something completely wrong about whatever was in that transmission. Xylera found herself impressed by how quickly Kate shifted to problem solving. That might work. But they would still monitor you through you. Likely yes, Kate smiled suddenly. So you'll stick around, it would be my assignment, yes? Well, roommate, I should warn you. Muffin sheds everywhere and I sing badly in the shower. Xylera blinked, trying to process this unexpected response. You would accept my presence, you understand I am not human. Kate shrugged. Human, alien, whatever. You spared my life when you didn't have to. That tells me everything I need to know about your character. Besides, she grinned, how many librarians get their own personal alien to ask questions to? The next morning, Kate woke to find Xylera standing by the window watching the sunrise. The alien assassin had not moved all night. Did you sleep? Kate asked. Rubbing her eyes, my species requires rest. Only once every 7 Earth days, Xylera explained. Well, I need coffee. Kate padded to the kitchen and Xylera followed, observing with intense curiosity as Kate prepared her morning drink. You consume stimulants to function. Xylera noted. Kate laughed. It's not that serious, just a habit. Plus, it tastes good. Want to try? Xylera hesitated, then accepted the small cup. She sniffed it carefully before taking a tiny sip. Her eyes widened slightly. Bitter yet pleasant, fascinating. They spent the day planning. Xylera needed to send a report soon to avoid suspicion. Kate suggested they visit the place where she had intercepted the transmission. Her small apartment balcony, where she'd been using an old radio telescope as a hobby. I was tracking meteor showers, Kate explained as they stood on the balcony. Then I picked up that weird signal. Xylera examined the crude equipment. It surprised her that such primitive technology could intercept their signals. The Empire's communications experts would need to know this vulnerability. They recorded Kate misinterpreting the transmission completely, talking about space weather and solar flares. Xylera added technical details that would convince her superiors the human posed no threat. As the sun set, Xylera transmitted the report using a device embedded in her wrist. The response came almost immediately. Mission parameters updated. Subject to remain under surveillance. Assessment accepted. Xylera felt relief, though she kept her expression neutral. They accepted my recommendation. You are safe for now, Kate smiled. You mean we're safe for now? The human logic was strange, but Xylera found she could not argue with it. In the days that followed, Xylera learned to blend in among humans. Kate helped her adjust her appearance. Slightly less blue skin tone, more human clothing. They crafted a cover story. Xylera was a foreign exchange student studying American culture. At the library where Kate worked, Xylera observed human interactions with growing fascination. Children approached Kate for story recommendations. Elderly humans asked for help finding large print books. Young couples researched travel destinations together. Each interaction revealed more about this species, their connections, their care for one another. One afternoon, a small human child approached Xylera directly. Are you an alien? The child whispered. Kate tensed nearby, but Xylera had prepared for such questions. I am from Finland, she replied using the cover story. A country far from here. The child looked disappointed. Oh, my brother said you look like an alien. Xylera tilted her head. What do aliens look like? The child described creatures with tentacles and multiple eyes. Xylera found herself amused by how wrong humans were about other life forms in the universe. Yet how accepting they were of differences. That evening as they walked home, Kate asked, Do you miss your world? Xylera considered the question. The Draxian Empire was efficient, organized, perfected through millennia of genetic modification and social engineering. But there was no equivalent to this to walking beside someone who knew your true nature and accepted it anyway. The Empire is not something one misses, she finally said. It simply is. But I find Earth has unexpected qualities. Like what? Complexity. Kate, unpredictability. The Empire eliminated such things long ago. We are born knowing our purpose, our place. All is ordered. Kate frowned. That sounds lonely. Xylara had never considered loneliness. It was not a concept valued in the Empire. Yet here, on Earth surrounded by humans who knew nothing of her true nature, she felt less alone than she ever had among her own kind. Perhaps she admitted, "You humans place great value on individual experience. The Empire values collective achievement." That night, as Kate slept, Xylara received another transmission from her commander's surveillance images of the apartment, analysis of their recordings, questions about Kate's daily routines. Xylara answered carefully, balancing truth with misdirection. She was walking a dangerous path. Any hint of her growing connection to this human would mean death for them both. Yet she could not stop this evolution within herself. This strange. Days turned into weeks and Xylara found herself adapting to life on Earth. Her surveillance assignment gave her the perfect cover to observe human behaviors up close. Kate had introduced her as Xyla, a foreign student, to her friends and co-workers at the library. The simple alteration to her name felt strangely intimate, like a gift only Kate could give her. Xylara learned to mimic human mannerisms, the subtle nod of understanding, the small smile of greeting. She practiced these in private, finding them awkward at first but gradually more natural. Her Draxian training had prepared her to blend in with any species, but never to become one of them. One rainy afternoon, Kate invited several friends to her apartment for something called a movie. Night. Xylara watched with fascination as the humans arranged themselves in the small living room, sharing food and laughter with easy familiarity. "This is Xyla, my new roommate." Kate introduced her to a red-haired woman named Olivia and a tall woman called Diane Shez, studying American culture. "Nice accent," Olivia said. "Where are you from again?" "Finland." Xylara replied using their prepared answer. "I've always wanted to visit Scandinavia," Diane said. "Is it as beautiful as they say?" Xylara hesitated, having never actually been to this Earth region. Kate had briefed her with basic facts, but detailed questions could expose her. "Very beautiful," she said carefully. "Much water. Many trees." The vague description seemed to satisfy Diane, who nodded enthusiastically. "I bet the northern lights are amazing." The humans settled in to watch their entertainment. Xylara observed how they responded to the images on the screen, laughing, crying, expressing outrage at fictional events. She found it curious how emotionally invested they became in stories that were not real. Draxians consumed information for practical purposes only. Entertainment was considered inefficient. After the others left, Kate found Xylara staring out the window at the rain. "You were quiet tonight," Kate said. "Did you not like the movie?" "I found it confusing," Xylara admitted. Why did the female human forgive the male after his deception? Their survival would be more assured if they separated. Kate laughed. "It's called love, Xyla. Sometimes it makes us do things that don't make logical sense." Love. Xylara tested the word. "We have no equivalent concept. Attachment to individuals decreases combat effectiveness." Kate looked sad at this. "How do you form relationships then?" "We don't form relationships. We have hierarchical structures. Commanding officers, subordinates, squad members. No friends, no family. Draxians are created, not born. Kate genetically engineered for specific purposes. I was designed for hunting, others for science, warfare, diplomacy." Kate moved closer. "You mean you never had a childhood?" "No parents." Xylara shook her head. "Such inefficiency was eliminated centuries ago." Kate reached out, taking Xylax's hand. "That sounds so lonely, again." This concept of loneliness, Xylara did not understand. How absence could be felt, yet Kate's touch sparked something unfamiliar. a warmth that spread from their connected hands. I was never alone. There were always others of my kind around me. That's not the same thing, Kate said softly. Being surrounded by people isn't the same as being connected to them. Connected, Zylara considered this. She had neural links to the Draxian Central Command communications implants, status monitors, but Kate meant something else. Something deeper. The following day, Kate took Zylara to a place called a museum, filled with art created by humans across their history. Zylara was stunned by the variety: paintings of landscapes, people, abstract concepts, sculptures in stone, metal, clay, each piece unique, expressing something. Beyond its physical form, in the Empire, art served propaganda purposes only. Messages of loyalty, strength, conformity. These human creations served no obvious function yet. Kate moved through the galleries with evident emotion, stopping to explain why. Certain pieces moved her. This one, Kate said, pointing to a painting of a woman holding a child, makes me think of my mother. She passed away 3 years ago. Zylara studied the image. How can pigment on canvas remind you of a specific person? It bears no physical resemblance, Kate smiled. It's not about the literal image, it's about the feeling it evokes, the tenderness between the mother and child. It reminds me of how safe I felt with my mom. Zylara tried to understand this concept. Emotional resonance. Through symbolic representation, it was entirely alien to her Draxian perspective. Yet she found herself drawn to a particular sculpture, a twisted piece of metal that somehow conveyed both strength and vulnerability. I find this one compelling, she admitted to Kate. Kate studied it. Why do you think that is? I cannot say exactly. Zylara struggled to articulate her response. It appears broken yet purposeful, damaged yet complete. Kate nodded thoughtfully. Sometimes we connect with art because it reflects something within ourselves. This observation troubled Zylara. Was she broken? Damaged? Her inability to complete her mission to kill Kate could be considered a malfunction. Yet here she was, alive, experiencing something beyond her programming. Something that felt strangely like purpose. That evening, Zylara transmitted her weekly report to the Draxian command. Subject: continues normal human activities. No evidence of understanding intercepted communications. Surveillance ongoing. The response came immediately. Additional intelligence required. Subject has accessed local information repository with frequency. Query purpose. They were referring to the library where Kate worked. Zylara crafted her response carefully. Subject is employed at information. Repository function involves organizing physical data storage units called books. No security concern. There was a delay before the next message. Expand surveillance monitor. All communications. Determine subject connections. Assess for threat. Network. Zylara felt an unfamiliar sensation, like a coldness in her chest. The Empire was broadening the investigation. Kate would be watched more closely. Her friends, her contacts, all scrutinized. Any misstep could endanger her. Zylara found Kate in the kitchen, preparing food. She watched the human move with practiced efficiency, combining ingredients with casual precision, so different from the calculated movements of Draxian food technicians. Kate sensed her presence and turned. With a smile, she offered a small piece of something sweet. Try this, it's chocolate. My favorite. Zylara accepted the morsel, placing it on her tongue as she had seen humans do. The taste was complex, rich, sweet, bitter. She had consumed nutrition capsules her entire existence. Flavor was considered unnecessary. But this was extraordinary. It's good, she said simply. Kate's smile widened. Just good. Try exceptional. Amazing, life-changing. Zylara considered exceptional. Perhaps the substance created a pleasant sensation. But life-changing, that seemed an exaggeration. Yet as the days passed, Zylara began to understand Kate's perspective. Earth was full of sensory experiences that served no obvious purpose beyond pleasure. The scent of flowers, the texture of fabric against skin, the taste of spices in food, the sound of music, These things were inefficient, unnecessary, yet they created something valuable, something the Empire, with all its technological superiority, had never achieved. Joy Zilara began to notice joy in small human interactions, a child receiving a desired book, the reunion of friends, the successful completion of a difficult task. Even in herself, when Kate laughed at something she said, or when Muffin the cat finally allowed Zilara to stroke his fur one day while helping. At the library, Zilara encountered an elderly human female struggling with heavy books. "May I assist you?" Zilara offered, taking the books effortlessly. "Oh, thank you, dear." The woman smiled warmly. "My arms aren't what they used to be." Getting old is not. For the faint of heart, Zilara was confused. In the Empire, individuals were recycled when their usefulness ended. Aging was considered inefficient. Why does your society maintain those who can no longer function at optimal capacity? The woman looked, startled, then laughed, thinking it was a joke. "Because we're not machines, honey. Where people value isn't just about what we can do. It's about who we are." This concept followed Zilara throughout the day. Value beyond function, identity beyond purpose. The Empire would consider such thinking dangerous, yet it resonated with something growing inside her. That night, as Kate slept, Zilara received an urgent transmission. Imperial scout ship approaching Earth system. Estimated arrival 17 days. Purpose. Verification of surveillance reports. Zilara froze. The scout ships had advanced technology. They would detect the uncorrupted transmission Kate had intercepted. They would discover Zilara's deception. They would eliminate them both for the first time. In her existence, Zilara felt fear. Not the tactical caution she had been engineered to experience, but true existential dread. She looked at Kate, sleeping peacefully, unaware of the approaching threat. Zilara had a choice. Warn Kate, risk everything they had built together, or return to her mission original parameters. Eliminate the human threat as ordered, protect the Empire. She watched the gentle rise and fall of Kate's chest. The human who had shown her music and art and chocolate. The human who had taught her that connection was not weakness but strength, that differences were not threatening but fascinating, that life, even inefficient, imperfect life, had value beyond function. 17 days the scout ship would arrive, and Zilara, 3rd Battalion Hunter class of the Draxian Empire, would have to decide where her true loyalties lay. The morning after receiving the transmission about the scout ship, Zilara sat motionless by the window, her mind calculating possibilities, scenarios, escape routes. The Draxian ship would arrive in 17 days. Their scanning technology would detect the original uncorrupted transmission. Their sensors would identify her altered reports. Her betrayal would be discovered. Kate entered the living room, yawning and stretching. "Morning, Zyla." "You been up all night again?" Zilara turned to look at the human. The sunlight highlighted the red tones in her hair, the small freckles across her nose. Insignificant details that Zilara had come to memorize. "We need to talk, Kate." Zilara said, her voice unusually tense. Kate immediately sensed something was wrong. She sat down across from Zilara. "What is it? What's happened?" "My commanders are sending a scout ship. They will arrive in 17 days. They will discover that I have not completed my mission, that I have been deceiving them." Kate's face paled. "What does that mean for us?" "It means we are both in danger. The Empire does not tolerate failure. They will eliminate us both." Kate took a deep breath, processing this information. What are our options? Zilara had considered 3 scenarios. The first, flee, change their identities, relocate to a remote area. But the Empire had planetary scanning technology. They would find them eventually. The second, fight, but that was foolish. The scout ship would have weapons capabilities beyond anything Earth could counter. The third, I could complete my original mission, she said quietly, watching Kate's face. If you were eliminated, the threat would be neutralized. They would have no reason to investigate further. Kate stared at her for a long moment. Then without fear she asked, Is that what you want to do? Zilara met her gaze. No, the simple answer contained complexities that surprised even Zalara. She had been created for one purpose: to hunt, to eliminate threats. She had never questioned orders, never hesitated, until Kate. Until Earth. Until she had experienced something beyond duty, Kate nodded slowly, reaching across to take Zylara's hand. Then we figure something else out. Together. Together. This concept still felt new to Zylara. In the Empire, individuals functioned as parts of a whole, never truly separate, never truly united. But here with Kate, she was learning another way. Not subservience, not isolation, but partnership. They spent the day developing plans, Kate suggesting ideas, Zylara evaluating their feasibility. They needed to address both problems: the transmission Kate had intercepted and the detection of Zylara's deception. What if we created a new transmission? Kate suggested, something that would override the one I accidentally picked up. Possible, Zylara said, but the scout ship has temporal scanning. They would detect the original signal and its timestamp. Kate paced the small living room. What about their scanning technology? Can we block it? Somehow? Draxian technology operates on quantum principles, Zylara explained. Earth science has not yet developed comparable countermeasures. They continued brainstorming late into the night, each idea meeting technical obstacles. Kate refused to give up. Her determination, her creativity impressed Zylara. The i.e., human approached problems from angles Zylara would never consider. The next day, Kate took Zylara to meet a friend, Lillian, who taught physics at the local university. Lil knows all about radio waves and quantum mechanics, Kate explained as they walked across the university campus. She might have ideas. Zylara was hesitant about involving others. The fewer humans who knew about her, the safer they all would be. But time was running out. They needed solutions beyond what they could develop alone. Lillian turned out to be a tall woman with short gray hair and intelligent eyes. Kate introduced Zylara as a specialist in advanced communications technology from overseas. They explained a theoretical problem involving signal detection and interference, carefully omitting any mention of aliens or the Empire. Lillian listened thoughtfully. If I understand correctly, you want to know if a quantum signal can be retroactively masked or altered once it's been transmitted. Exactly, Zylara said. Lillian scratched her chin. Well, theoretically, quantum entanglement could allow for some unusual effects. The observer effect means that measuring a quantum state changes it. If your original signal was quantum-based, and you could create an entangled partner signal, she continued explaining complex physics that even Kate struggled to follow. But Zylara understood. The scientist was unknowingly describing principles similar to Draxian technology. If they could create a quantum-entangled signal, they might be able to alter how the original transmission would appear to Draxian scanners. After leaving, Lily and Kate looked at Zylara expectantly. Well, can it work? Possibly, Zylara said. But we would need equipment beyond Earth's current technology. What about your equipment, your implants? Your ship, my personal equipment, is designed for communication and basic scanning, not signal manipulation, Zylara explained. And my ship is in orbit, powered down to avoid detection. Kate stopped walking. Your ship is here in orbit. Now Zylara nodded. The revelation seemed to startle Kate. You have a spaceship, just floating above Earth. It is small. A single-occupant craft for interplanetary travel. Nothing like the scout ship that is coming. Kate shook her head, amazed. Can we use it? Could we escape in it to where the Empire controls most systems in this sector? Well, Kate said, determination returning. Can we use parts from it? Technology. Something that could help us create this quantum signal thing. Zylara considered the ship's quantum drive. Contained elements that could potentially be modified. The risk would be great. Activating the ship even briefly might alert Draxian monitors. But they had few options. It is possible, she admitted. That night, Zylara activated her neural link to the ship, commanding it to descend using stealth protocols. She directed it to land in an isolated area outside the city. In the early morning hours, she and Kate drove to the location in a vehicle Kate borrowed from a friend. The small clearing in the forest was illuminated by moonlight. Kate gasped when the ship decloaked, a sleek oval craft no larger than a small Earth car. Its surface a dark material that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "That's your ship," Zilara placed her hand on. The seamless hull a panel slid open, revealing the cramped interior. The inside was minimal functional. A single seat surrounded by control interfaces. Kate approached cautiously. It's beautiful. Zilara had never considered the aesthetic qualities of the craft. It was a tool, nothing more. Yet seeing it through Kate's eyes, she recognized its elegance, its precision. "We need the quantum communication array," Zilara said, reaching inside to access a hidden compartment. And elements from the drive core. She extracted several devices unfamiliar to human technology. Crystal-like structures that pulsed with internal light. Metallic components that moved subtly, as if alive. Kate watched with wonder as Zilara carefully removed what they needed. "Will the ship still work without these parts?" "Not efficiently. But it remains functional." They returned to the apartment with the components. The next several days were spent integrating Draxian technology with the modified radio equipment Kate had used to receive the original transmissions Zilara worked with. Focused intensity explaining concepts to Kate as she assembled the device. Kate proved to be a quick learner, asking intelligent questions, helping where she could. The human adapted to new information with remarkable flexibility, another trait the Empire had not anticipated in the species. On the 7th day, the device was complete, a hybrid of Earth and Draxian technology. It looked crude by Imperial standards, but Zilara believed it would function if this works. Zilara explained, "We should be able to create a quantum echo that will entangle with the original transmission. When the scout ship scans for the signal, they will detect only what we want them to see." And what is that? A meaningless fragment of space noise. Not Imperial code. Zilara activated the device. A soft humming filled the room, followed by a series of tones. "Did it work?" Kate asked. Zilara monitored the output through her neural interface. The quantum signatures aligned. The entanglement was forming, stabilizing. "Yes," she said with rare satisfaction. "It is working." Kate smiled widely, throwing her arms around Zilara in a spontaneous embrace. The alien stiffened briefly, then relaxed into the contact. These human expressions of emotion through physical touch had become less foreign, more welcome. They had addressed one problem. The original transmission would appear harmless to the scout ship's scanners. But the second issue remained, Zilara's own deception. Her failure to complete her mission must still explain why I have maintained surveillance instead of eliminating you, Zilara said as they sat together that evening. Kate considered this. What if you tell them something that would make them want to keep me alive? Such as Kate thought for a moment. What if I knew something valuable, something about Earth defenses or technology, something that would take time to extract? Zilara shook her head. The Empire would simply take you for interrogation. What about Kate? Stopped, her eyes widening. I know. What if I'm not just any human? What if I'm important to other humans? Zilara tilted her head, not understanding. Kate explained her idea with growing excitement. What if you told them I'm connected to human governments or science communities, that killing me would alert Earth authorities to alien presence, something that would make eliminating me more dangerous than keeping me alive? The strategy had merit. The Empire valued secrecy above almost everything. Their presence on Earth was limited, precisely to avoid detection by human authorities. If Kate were connected to influential humans, her sudden death might trigger investigations, but such a claim would require. The morning of the scout ship's arrival dawned clear and bright. Zilara had not rested, her attention focused on the quantum device and her neural link to the Empire network. Kate moved around the apartment with nervous energy, making coffee, straightening objects that didn't need straightening. They will enter Earth orbit within 3 hours, Zilara said, tracking the ship's approach through her implants. Kate nodded. What happens then? Standard protocol dictates they will scan the planet focusing on the coordinates where the transmission was intercepted. They will verify my reports, they will expect me to make contact, and will you I must. Any deviation from expected behavior will trigger suspicion. Kate sat beside Zylara, taking her blue-tinged hand. You know what to say. They had rehearsed the story multiple times. Kate Newman was not a random human, but a low-level asset in the Earth government with connections to scientific research facilities. Her sudden disappearance would trigger investigations, potentially exposing Draxian presence on Earth. Continued surveillance was the prudent approach. The hours passed in tense silence. Kate attempted to read a book, but Zylara noticed her eyes not moving across the pages, merely staring at the same spot. The human was afraid yet resolute. Zylara found her courage remarkable. At precisely the calculated time, Zylara felt the distinctive ping of a direct Draxian communication. The scout ship had arrived. They are here, she said quietly. Kate sat down. Her book meeting. Zylara's violet eyes. Go ahead. Zylara activated her neural transmitter, initiating contact with the scout ship. She remained seated, but her posture changed, becoming more rigid, more formal. Kate watched as Zylara's eyes took on a distant look. Zylara, 3rd Battalion Hunter Class. Reporting to Scout Vessel Tarkath, she said aloud for Kate's benefit, though the actual communication was neural status update on subject Kate Newman as requested. There was a pause as the scout ship processed her transmission. Then a response which Zylara translated. We have detected anomalies in your reports. Explain your failure to eliminate the human threat. Zylara spoke carefully. Upon further investigation, I discovered the human subject has significant connections to Earth governance and research institutions. Her elimination would trigger protocols that could expose our presence. Surveillance was deemed more strategically sound than termination. Another pause. Kate held her breath, watching Zylaris face for any sign of the ship's response. Transmit evidence of these connections. Zylara sent the data Kate had prepared. Documents, photos, communications records. The scout would analyze them. Searching for inconsistencies, Kate whispered, will they believe it? Zylara did not answer, continuing her communication with the ship. We have detected the transmission intercepted by the human subject. It appears corrupted, consistent with your reports. Zylara felt a moment of relief. The quantum device was working. The entangled signal had masked the original transmission. Scout ship Commander Relka is requesting direct visual assessment of the subject. This was unexpected but not entirely surprising. Zylara turned to Kate. They wish to see you. Kate straightened. Her face paled, but she nodded. I can do this. Zylara activated the visual transmission component in her neural implant. A small projection formed above her palm. The face of a Draxian commander appeared, blue-skinned with ridged features and entirely black eyes. Kate managed not to flinch at the alien appearance. Commander Relka. This is the human subject, Kate Newman, Zylara said formally. The commander studied Kate through the projection. Human. You have intercepted Draxian communications. Explain. Your understanding of what you received. Kate met the commander's gaze with remarkable composure. I received what I believe to be unusual space weather data, possibly from a research satellite. I work with scientific archives and found the patterns interesting but ultimately meaningless. My background in information science made it a curiosity, nothing more. The commander turned his attention back to Zylara. Your assessment of this human's threat level? Minimal, Commander. Zylara replied. The subject poses no immediate danger to Draxian operations. However, her connections make her valuable for intelligence gathering on human scientific capabilities. There was a long silence. The commander appeared to be consulting with others off-screen. Zylara maintained her formal posture, though beneath the table her hand had found Kate's and gripped it tightly. Finally, the commander spoke. Our scans confirm the transmission was corrupted as reported. The human appears to have no strategic knowledge of our operations. Your decision to maintain surveillance is approved with conditions. The subject must remain under continuous monitoring. Any change in status must be reported immediately. Scout teams will conduct periodic verification. Understood, Commander. Xylara acknowledged. The projection vanished. Xylara turned to Kate. They have accepted our explanation. For now, Kate released a long breath, sagging with relief. It worked. They believed us. Xylara did not immediately share her relief. They accepted our explanation. Because it aligned with their expectations, they saw what they expected to see. But they will be watching more closely now. The scout ship will remain in Earth orbit for at least 7 days, conducting additional scans. Kate nodded her. Relief tempered. We bought ourselves some time, that's what matters. Xylara stood moving to the window, looking up at the sky somewhere above them. Invisible to human technology, the scout ship orbited. Their deception had succeeded. But for how long? The Empire was patient, methodical. If they suspected anything, they would wait, observe, gather evidence. That night, Kate found Xylara still at the window. You should rest, she said gently. You haven't slept in days. Draxians require less rest than humans, even. Draxians need to recharge sometimes. Xylara turned to look at Kate. The human showed concern for her well-being. Another unfamiliar experience. No one in the Empire would consider an individual's comfort relevant unless it affected mission performance. We'll rest soon, Kate studied her. You don't think we're safe yet, do you? No, Xylara admitted. The commander accepted our explanation. But scout missions always involve deeper investigation than initially revealed. Kate sighed, sitting on the couch. So what do we do now? We maintain the deception. We behave exactly as expected. You continue your normal activities, I continue surveillance. And then what Kate asked, we just keep this up forever. You pretend to spy on me for the rest of my life. The question caught Xylara unprepared. She had been focused on immediate survival, not long-term consequences. The Empire would expect regular reports indefinitely. They would notice if those reports stopped. They might send other agents to verify her information. Kate's life would never be truly her own again. I do not know, Xylara said honestly. Kate was silent for a moment. Then she asked a question that shifted everything. Have you ever considered not going back? Not going back. The concept was alien to Xylara. The Empire was everything, origin, purpose, identity. Without it, what would she be? You mean? Defect, Kate shrugged. I mean choose Earth. Choose freedom. Choose. She hesitated, then finished softly. Choose us. There was that concept again. Connection, partnership. Something beyond duty, beyond orders, beyond the rigid structure of the Empire. But defection was unknown among Draxians. Loyalty was engineered into their genetic code. It was not a choice. It was a fundamental component of their being, or so Xylara had always believed. Yet here she was, having already disobeyed direct orders, already having chosen Kate over the Empire. The scout ship remained in orbit for 8 days, longer than Xylara had predicted. They conducted thorough scans of the area around Kate's apartment, the library where she worked, the places she frequented. Xylara maintained her cover, reporting daily observations of Kate's activities, careful to include enough authentic detail to seem thorough, while concealing anything that might suggest her true relationship with the human. Kate continued her normal routines, though Xylara could sense her tension. Her brave face when they were in public. Her quieter moments of fear when they were alone. The strain of constant deception was wearing on the human, yet she never complained, never suggested surrendering. On the 9th day, the scout ship broke orbit. Its mission complete for now. Xylara tracked its departure with her neural implants, watching as it moved beyond the moon, heading for the outer planets of the solar system. They have left Earth's immediate vicinity. She told Kate. Kate looked up from the book she was pretending to read. Gone for good, no. They will establish a monitoring station, likely on one of your outer moons. They will maintain communication with me, but direct observation will be reduced. Kate set down her book, relief visible in her expression. That's something, at least, she said. We can breathe a little easier. Xylara nodded, though she remained cautious. The Empire's departure from immediate orbit was tactical, not permanent. They had accepted the current situation, but would continue watching, always evaluating. If they detected any change, any reason to doubt Xylara's reports, they would return, and next time they would not be so easily deceived. In the days that followed, they established a new routine. Kate continued her work at the library. Zilara accompanied her, sometimes helping with tasks exploring the vast collection of human knowledge, recorded in books. Sometimes Zilara remained at the apartment monitoring Empire communications, analyzing patterns in their surveillance. One evening as they walked home through a park, Kate asked, "How often do you have to report to them now?" "Every third day standard procedure for low-priority surveillance, and what do you tell them?" 3 months passed since the scout ship's departure. Zilara continued her reports to the Empire, maintaining the deception Kate had returned to her normal life at the library, though normal had taken on new meaning with an alien assassin as her roommate. They had settled into a routine that almost felt like peace. Almost Zilara knew the Empire never truly abandoned surveillance. She detected periodic scan probes, subtle communications, monitoring. She reported dutifully, sharing just enough information to satisfy her commanders while protecting what had become most important: Kate. Their growing connection. Their shared life. One evening as autumn turned the leaves golden, Kate brought home a small package. "I got you something," she said. Setting it on the table, Zilara approached curiously. The concept of gifts was still relatively new to her. In the Empire, possessions were allocated based on function, need rank. Personal items were minimal utilitarian. "What is it? Open it," Kate encouraged Zilara. Carefully unwrapped the package. Inside was a small rectangular object bound in leather. "A book. I noticed you reading the astronomy section at the library," Kate explained. "This is a star atlas, but not just anyone. It's from 1887. It's how humans saw the stars before we had modern telescopes. I thought you'd find it interesting, seeing how we understood the universe before we really knew what was out there." Zilara opened the book carefully. The pages were yellowed with age, filled with hand-drawn maps of constellations, star charts, calculations. Some accurate, some wildly incorrect by modern standards, yet all created with evident care, precision, intention. "This is," she paused, searching for the right word, "meaningful." Kate smiled. "I thought you might. Like having something that was just yours. Not for the mission. Not for the Empire. Just because it interested you." Zilara ran her fingers over the ancient pages. These human astronomers had mapped the stars with primitive technology, limited understanding, yet they had looked up with wonder, with curiosity. Their maps were flawed, but their desire to know, to understand, that was perfect. "Thank you," Zilara said, the words still feeling new on her tongue. Later that night, as Kate slept, Zilara sat on the balcony, with her gift, the star atlas, open in her lap. Her neural implants could provide perfect stellar cartography for any system in Draxian territory. Yet there was something compelling about these imperfect human maps. They represented not just knowledge, but journey process discovery. A sudden alert through her neural link interrupted her contemplation. An Imperial message: priority level elevated, anomaly detected in surveillance subject. Explain human acquisition of stellar mapping technology. Zilara tensed. They had detected the book. The gift Kate had given her with such thoughtfulness had triggered their suspicion. She composed her response carefully. Subject maintains interest in primitive astronomical science. Acquisition is antique human. Star mapping from pre-space age contains no sensitive information. Continues to demonstrate subject interest in stellar phenomena without strategic understanding. There was a pause, longer than usual for automated responses, then verification required. Upload complete neural scan for analysis. Zilara froze. A complete neural scan would reveal everything: her changed perceptions, her emotional responses, her connection to Kate, her deception. The Empire would see it all. She had minutes at most to decide. She could comply, submit the scan, accept the consequences. The Empire would send hunters better than herself. They would eliminate Kate, eliminate Zilara, erase all evidence of their failure, or she could refuse. No Draxian had ever refused a direct command. It was believed to be impossible. Their neural implants, their genetic coding, their lifelong conditioning all ensured absolute loyalty. Yet Zilara found herself considering it, weighing options, consequences, choices. A concept that would have been alien to her mere months ago. She went to Kate, gently waking her. Kate blinked sleepily. What's wrong? The Empire has requested a complete neural scan, Zylara explained. They detected the book, your gift. They are suspicious. Kate sat up immediately. What does that mean? What will they see? Everything, Zylara said simply. My thoughts, my experiences, my feelings. They will know I have deceived them. They will know about us. Kate's face paled. How much time do we have? Minutes. The longer I delay, the more suspicious they become. Kate was fully awake now, pacing the small bedroom. What are our options? Zylara had calculated 3 possibilities, each with significant risks. Comply and face certain death, refuse and become a fugitive. Or the third option, most desperate, most dangerous. I could attempt to sever my neural link to the Empire. Kate stopped pacing. Is that possible? Theoretically, the link is biological, technological, integrated with my neural pathways. Severing it would be similar to removing a part of my brain. It would disconnect me from the Empire network, but the process could cause significant neural damage. You mean it could kill you? Possibly, or leave me impaired. The technology was designed to be permanent. Kate sat beside her, taking her hands. What do you want to do? Again, that question. What did Zylara want? Not what was her duty. Not what was her purpose, but what did she want? I want. She hesitated, looking into Kate's eyes. I want to stay. Here with you. I want to see more of your world, learn. More about humans, about music and art and chocolate. I want to keep the star atlas you gave me. Kate smiled despite the fear in her eyes. Then we find a way to make that happen. How do we sever the link? Zylara accessed her internal knowledge of Draxian technology. The neural link was centered at the base of her skull, a complex web of nanotechnology integrated with her brain stem. To disconnect it would require a precise electromagnetic pulse, calibrated to disrupt the nanites without damaging her organic tissue. I would need to create a device, Zylara said, a precise EMP generator. The components from my ship might be sufficient. How long would that take? Longer than we have. The Empire expects my response within minutes. Kate thought quickly. What if we buy some time? Zylara tilted her head. How send them something, anything, just not your actual neural scan? Give us time to build this device. It was risky. Sending false data would confirm their suspicions. But Kate was right. They needed time. Zylara activated her neural link, transmitting a corrupted data packet. Not a scan, but something that would appear as a transmission error. She included a message, neural interface experiencing fluctuations. Attempting to stabilize, will retry transmission. The response came quickly. Acknowledged system diagnostic, initiated retry scan in 6 hours. It worked. Zylara said, we have 6 hours. They moved with urgent purpose. Kate drove them to Zylara's hidden ship using the vehicle borrowed from her friend, the pre-dawn darkness provided cover as they retrieved additional components from the craft. Then to the university, where Kate used her library credentials to access the physics lab Lillian had shown them months earlier. Working together, they constructed the device following Zylara's precise instructions. Kate proved remarkably adept at interpreting Zylara's technical explanations, adapting Earth equipment to interface with Draxian technology. As the deadline approached, they returned to the apartment. The device looked crude, a circular band designed to fit around Zylara's neck with control interfaces connected to Kate's laptop. Will it hurt? Kate asked. As she helped position the device, Zylara considered the question. Pain was not a concern in Draxian. Operations effectiveness was what mattered. But she understood now that Kate needed reassurance. Yes, she admitted, it will be painful, but temporary. Kate nodded, tears in her eyes. If this works, what happens to you? Will you still be you? I will lose access to the Empire network. My enhanced scanning capabilities, certain augmented functions, but my core consciousness, my memories, She paused, searching for the right word. My feelings. Those are part of my organic brain. They should remain intact. Kate took a deep breath. It's time, isn't it? The Empire will be expecting your scan soon. Saylara nodded. I must activate the device now. She reached for Kate's hand one more time. If this fails, if I am damaged beyond recovery, you must leave this place. Go somewhere. Far the Empire will send others. Kate shook her head firmly. I'm not going anywhere, we're in this together. Together. The words still felt like a gift. Saylara activated the device. A soft hum filled the room, gradually increasing in pitch. Kate stepped back. As instructed, the electromagnetic field needed to be precisely calibrated. Saylara felt the energy building around her. The nanites in her neural link responding, becoming agitated. The pain began as a slight pressure at the base of her skull then. Rapidly intensified, she remained seated, hands gripping the chair. Her vision blurred, doubled. The sound became a high-pitched whine that seemed to pierce directly into her brain. She was vaguely aware of Kate watching, horror and hope mingled on her face. The pain crescendoed white-hot, searing through her neural pathways. Her back arched involuntarily, a sound escaping her that was not quite a scream. Then suddenly silence. Darkness. Saylara opened her eyes, uncertain how much time had passed. Kate was leaning over her, concern etched on her face. Saylara was lying on the floor, the device still around her neck but inactive. Now Zyla, Kate said urgently. Can you hear me? Are you okay? Saylara blinked, focusing on Kate's face. She attempted to activate her neural scan to assess damage, to analyze her condition. Nothing happened. The familiar background presence of the Empire network, the constant flow of data, the awareness of command structures all gone. Replaced by silence. It worked, she whispered, her voice rough. I cannot detect the neural link. Kate helped her sit up. How do you feel? Different, empty yet whole. It's difficult to explain.